Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
All right, family. Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. My friends, on today's conversation, I'm thrilled to have on Mr. Mark Hayes. Mr. Mark Hayes is the general manager of KSHP radio, where I happen to be honored to be on, and you can listen to the Arrington Gavin shows Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Again, that's on KSHP 1400 AM or 107.1 FM. And I'm thrilled to have him on because we're gonna get we're gonna have a great conversation in regards to just what got him involved in in radio, right? And also we're gonna have a conversation talking about radio, traditional radio, and streaming. We live in this this digital streaming universe now. I mean, literally everything is streaming. You have it where linear television is, I would say, less popular, and those linear networks are going streaming. They're finding some ways to pursue streaming. We have NBC has Peacock. We have Disney has Hulu, ESPN. I mean, everything is streaming. Wrestling, I mean, come on, it's on Netflix now. So I mean, everything is going streaming. We're watching our sports, whether it's on Paramount, Amazon, Netflix. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so we're gonna kind of just have a great conversation in regards to, okay, is it still a place for traditional radio, right? Or what's still continuing, I would say, what's grabbing listeners and viewers to still tune in to radio and not really, tune into streaming as much, right? We're gonna have a little bit of everything, right? And we're gonna talk some sports too, because Mark Hayes happens to be a former collegiate athlete, and I spoke with him a little bit before because I'm like, look, we gotta talk some football. We had a recent draft that just went down. Got some off-season signees. We got some folks retiring. What's your predictions? And look, coming from Las Vegas, I mean, Las Vegas is the Mecca when it comes to sports now. You have the Kings, you have the Knights. You have the Rams. No, I'm sorry, Raiders. I'm getting my stuff mixed up because I know I'm thinking all West Coast. You have the Raiders. WNBA is a dynasty team. I mean, soccer, you name it, they are winning right now in sports. And so we're going to have those conversations on today's show. As always, my friends, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show. As you know, we drop new episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, and also wherever you get your podcasts as well. You can tune into the program as well. You can also watch us on the radio airways. I've already mentioned earlier, KSHP 1400 AM and 107.1 FM Las Vegas, where you can listen in to the Arrington Gavin Show Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And then you can also listen to us in the Metro Atlanta area. Shout out to WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk, where you can listen into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then lastly, we're going to head over to New Orleans to WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about. You can listen into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, that's only on WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about. And I want to thank those folks for allowing us to continue to, grow our audience, to spread great conversation. Because as you know, I'm a person that just loves conversation. We bring on folks from all sides of the political aisle, and every opinion is welcome, right? And that's the wonderful thing about conversation, about dialogue. And so, normally I chop it up about politics for the most part, but today we're going to take a quick breather because it's so much stuff happening. There's so much stuff happening. Politics is everywhere, y'all. I'll just be honest. Politics is everywhere, and there's so much stuff I could, discuss about politics. But today we're going to try and take a quick breather, all right, in regards to some of the issues going on out here in our world. But don't worry. We will discuss it on the next show. But again, we just want to kind of take a kickback and have a great convo with our special guest, Mr. Mark Hayes. Thrilled to have him on. Thrilled that he's taking the time out of his busy schedule. Because again, being a general manager of a radio station it ain't easy. Okay, it is not easy whatsoever. And so that is a huge task for him. And I just appreciate that he is taking the time to come here on the show, and we can have a great convo as well. Because we talked off air, but now having him as a guest, right, which is always pretty interesting, because I've had friends that work in media, and they always ask me, they're like, do you enjoy being the interviewee or being the guest? And I'm like, I like being the interviewer, because it's just like, I don't want to, I don't know. It's just it's different. Cause when I'm answering a question, I'm like, man, that's a good question. I wish I thought of that. Oh, that's a good question. I wish I thought of that. So it's interesting. So long story short, fam, y'all going to be in for a treat on this episode. And do me a favor before we head to a commercial break. If you have not done so yet, look, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Arrington Gavin Show. We have a goal to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We are growing each and every day, which I want to thank you all enough. I want to continue to thank you because, again, y'all could be doing so much, so many other things. There's so many channels out there. But the fact that you are like saying, hey, look, I like what Aaron's just talking about, so I'm going to subscribe so I can keep up to the latest episodes and other content clips that we put up on a regular basis. So again, do me a favor and subscribe, share with a friend, share with family, share with Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. Please, I truly appreciate it. All right. Now we're going to take a quick break here. Do not go anywhere. Don't change that dial. You're listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story. Crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. And we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
With me?
Yeah, this that new Goat Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In GOATs, we trust.
6'10", number one pick, 16 seasons, College Player of the Year, All-Rookie Standout. Joe Smith built a career on grit, consistency, and showing up.
Greatness isn't just about the game. It's about how you show up every day. Rugged Evolution now offers body care products for every man, because not every man wears a beard, but every man deserves care. Greatness doesn't fade.
It evolves. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Every beard deserves to be legendary, and every man deserves care. All right, family, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. As I mentioned earlier, you're in for a treat. I'm thrilled to have on Mr. Mark Hayes, General Manager of KSHP out in Las Vegas, radio station that I'm thrilled to be heard on every Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific time. I'm very thrilled to be a part of the KSHP family. Without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on our special guest, Mr. Mark Hayes. Mark, what's going on, boss? How's everything going with you?
Man, I'm great, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Man, the pleasure's all mine, man. I'm excited to have you on. As I mentioned with our listeners, look, I know you're a very busy man. Running a radio station is not an easy task, and you're also a family man. You're a husband, you're a father. You got a lot of hats. Okay, you have a lot of hats, and as well as running the station. So again, I just appreciate you taking the time out your schedule to come here for a conversation.
Yeah, no problem at all, man. Like I said, like when we first started this journey, I told you anytime you needed me or anytime you wanted me to jump on, just let me know. And so I cleared my schedule. And one good thing about what I do, I enjoy what I do. So it's almost every day. It's not really work. I do a lot, but it's not work. So because I enjoy it. So, it makes it easy.
That's very true. I know a lot of folks will always tell me, man, do you ever get tired when you have an interview after interview after? And I'm like, first of all, I'm a long-winded person. Like, I'm that person in the family where I'm like, oh my gosh, this boy like to talk. I'm like, yeah, who does? Like, I love conversation. It's one of like, I have so much fun doing this. I have fun, sharing my take on something. I have fun talking with my bros or, I have a great time and making new friends as well. So you're to agree with you on that one, saying this, it's easy when you're having fun doing what you're doing. And you've been doing this for quite some time. If you don't mind, kind of sharing with our listeners who are not too familiar with you, what led to your journey in radio?
Well, I don't want to date myself. I will be 50 next on Saturday. So
man, you don't show it. You don't show it. It's all good.
Happy birthday. I'll be 50 on Saturday, so I'm excited about that. So my journey in radio kind of, it really was my second career. My first career was football. I pursued football my whole life. And, like most young kids, you had dreams of going to the NFL, taking your family into another situation, getting them out of the bad situation that they lived in. And when I was growing up, we didn't have much other than ourselves and family and things like that. My dad didn't really, he didn't really complain about things we didn't have. He was able to provide us a good life. And to me, I thought we had a lot until I got older, looking back, and I'm like, we didn't have much, but my dad sure did make sure we had everything we needed, and especially growing up and being in sports and paying for sports. And so football was my first career, and that was something that I was pursuing. I had the opportunity to not only play college ball, I had the opportunity to get some invitations to some camps. Played a few years in the Arena League, played a year or 2 years in 1 year in Canada, and in the Arena League, had a few tryouts in the NFL, and had my first baby, and I was like, well, I can't live and feed a child on per diem, or back then, you're making $1,500 a week, and having a child, it could run into some problems. So I had to kind of make a decision on, feed my family or trying to pursue this dream, because every kid that plays sports has that dream of playing at the next level. And, you got to think, and you're competing with not only yourself, but you're also competing with a lot of athletes that are trying to do the same thing you're trying to do. So it's definitely not, the path is not easy, but it was definitely a path that I wouldn't change.
I know that's right, man. What position were you when you playing football?
I was a strong safety. Played like a in the box safety. I played strong safety, free safety, and some corner. But mostly strong safety.
Okay, bet. So my dad also, he played kind of on pretty much the same level as you, collegiate level, Division 1. Got some invites to some teams. He did a short stint with the Seahawks, very short stint with the Seahawks. Same, went to the did a time in Canada, and then he did a time back in, oh man, we had in Norfolk, Virginia. There used to be a squad called the Norfolk Neptune. This is an old franchise back in the day. Shout out to the original, the old Neptunes, because fun fact, John Amos, who played the father on Good Times, he played on there back when before he was an actor. I just got to shout out the history there. But but you're absolutely right. I mean, it's harder to pursue that career when again you compete with so many athletes. I mean, that's one thing that I think people have to come to the mindset of. When there's a person that gets drafted number 1, it's a reason why that's a really special, or getting drafted in general, because it's like, I think 200 plus players that get drafted every year, and you still have off season, so they have trials, so they're still bringing on folks. You got different leagues now. We got the I think the XFL, which kind of merged the UFL and the XFL. So I do love seeing other leagues. So it's giving opportunities to players, because I mean, I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of Heisman Trophy winners that don't come out quite successful. I mean, I ain't gonna say no names or nothing, but we know. I mean, I know you being a sports guy, you definitely seen the talent where it's like, wow, like some of the greats were kind of like the ignored, athletes, but no, that's man, strong safety. That's a tough position right there, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough position right there. But so that being said, when you said, okay, look, I need to look at another avenue. Still love sports, but I want to look at some other directions where it can help, feed me and my family. And I think this would be a great route. Where did the radio come from? Because it's like, was it the love of music? Was it the love of commentating? Like, there's so many different types of industries and genres really in radio alone.
Yeah. Well, when I first started and I was trying to find that second career, I started training, and that was really important for me. For 5 years, I opened up a facility. I was training over 100 kids a month.
Wow.
Ages from 6 to 18, kind of right before they went to college. So that really was my passion, because I was like, okay, if I can't play, I can share my life and my story with the youth and the younger kids, but not only the part of training them, but I would also conduct classes, because what happens is a lot of parents are uneducated about how to get their kids to the next level. So me being a father and having kids, I kind of knew that ingredients, because I have kids that play sports, and my daughter actually, I was able to help her. Of course, she did all the work, but I was just able to have in her corner and supporting her and helping her, guiding her through her journey. And she was fortunate enough to be able to go Division I and play soccer, and
that's awesome.
Had the opportunity to fulfill her dreams. And I was kind of those, it turned into our dreams, because I was supporting her as far as getting her to Division I. So what I was doing with a lot of parents during my training, I would train the kids, and I would have some of my former football players. I had about 6 or 7 former NFL college players that were helping me in their specialty. So if you were an offensive lineman, you kind of work with the line. If you were a receiver, you work with the receivers, and so forth. Quarterbacks, you work with quarterbacks. So I had about 6 or 7 former guys that I played with that came out and kind of helped me with that. And I would do a class. It was called Parent 101. So I would teach parents on how to get kids ready for the SAT, how to contact coaches depending on what sport they were playing, how to get video set up. So pretty much all the things parents think coaches are going to do. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I basically broke a lot of parents' heart, because they thought my question would be, who's going to showcase your child? And every parent had the same answer, and it was the coach. And that's not the answer, because the coach has a job to do, and that's coach. Now, granted, if a coach comes into their office or if a coach comes to the field and asks about a player, they will give them the information, but they're not pursuing your scholarships. They're not helping the parents, you know, and depending on the sport, like girls soccer, you know, it's a little more in depth. You got to do more. Football, you got to do certain things. So I was give the parents an education while the kids were training. I would answer questions and teach them how to get financial aid if they had to go that route, if they had the scholarships, what they should look for. You know, a school, usually the school picks the player, not the player picking the school. A lot of parents don't know that. Oh, my son wants to go to UCLA. He should go there. UCLA is not recruiting your kid. So, you know, so I had to teach a lot of parents that is the school is going to pick your child. Your child will not pick the school. And unfortunately, you know, they see the small fraction of players who do end up at a big school and quote unquote the school of their dreams. To me, the school of my dream is the school that's going to give me a scholarship. That's the school of my dream. And so, you know, I got into that, and it really, you know, to this day, I keep telling myself, okay, I'm gonna go back and start retraining. I get calls pretty frequent of parents want me to train their kids, and you know, asking questions because they heard from another parent years ago. So I still get those calls today. But I did that for about 5.5 years. I had a 30,000 square feet facility, and it was just all kids, and you know, actually, you know, train kids. And now I'm watching a lot of those kids go Division I. Some of the kids some of them got drafted this past year. And when I trained them, they were like 6 and 7, and they actually, I had 4 kids get drafted this year. And so,
and see, and that's awesome. And oh no, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just saying, you know, that was the reason I figured I can get these kids at 7, 8, 9, 10. It was some parents nowadays, they get, you know, they can afford it. So parents are getting trainers for kids at 5 and 6 years old, and people wonder why other kids are so far behind. It's not that the kids are more athletic. They've been trained for 2 years before your kid with a trainer on how to lift weights, how to eat right, how to push a sled. I mean, they're learning all this at 5, 6, 7 years old. I used to have kids that came to train with me. They were 5 years old, and the parents would be like, I want them to go Division I.
You like, wait a minute, time.
They ain't even know what preschool they're going to go, middle school they're going to go to yet. But that's just the vision that a lot of parents have for these kids. And, you know, at 8 or 9 years old, parents are already thinking about what college these kids are going to go to. And, you know, when you start jumping along that far ahead, you set your kid up for failure.
And you know, you speak on some important things, because it's important that you did start at a young age with working with these kids, because at the end of the day, sports in general is a business. It is, I mean, on the collegiate level, it's a business. You now seeing high schoolers starting to have NILs. It's quiet. It's not as loud as it is on the collegiate level, but I mean, they're starting so young. And you know, you do have, you know, you have your parents that want to live their dream through their child, and then you have those that, like you said, you came across a parent that said, "Hey, look, at 5 years old, I want him to go D1." I'm like, "Whoa, wait, 5 years old? Like, wait,
enough to go D1." That's
It's just, that's still going on, and that's still going on. But it's important, because when you mention the parent one-on-one, I look at that as almost like a tutorial, or almost of a parent being prepared for when agents come, asking the right questions when they do visit different universities, because like you said, it's about scholarship, right? It's about who's going to give you the most money. And now, again, going with NILs, which I want to ask you, Mark, what's your take on NILs? How big it's getting? Has it kind of taken away, I guess, the true college feel, or the feel as being a collegiate athlete, or is it a good thing? Does it have its, you know, or does it have some cons with it as well? Like, what's your take on NILs?
Well, it's 2 parts of that, because I was I was originally part of the group when it first started, where we were requesting that we get paid for our likeness and image and name. So I was a part of that group with Ed O'Banning, who kind of spearheaded the whole thing, but I was in that same group of people that were trying to get college athletes paid. And so to see it happening now, I'm all for it, because the amount of money that these athletes make for the institution, the amount of money that the coaches make per year, when you look at a lot of these coaches now, they're millionaires. Why shouldn't a kid be able to profit off their name, likeness, and image when half the stadium is filled with the number one jersey of, let's say, Mark Hayes, and all that revenue goes to the school and to help the coach's salary. And so to me, I think athletes being paid is a great thing. I'm happy I was around to see it happen, because I was originally a part of when it first started, us trying to figure out a way, lawsuits and Supreme Court and district court. I mean, it was just, got put on hold, got appeals. And then it finally happened where players were able to get paid. I'm all for it. My only thing is with it is, I think a lot of players and institutions are always going to have a bigger budget than most. That makes it hard for the smaller schools that don't really have that big of a budget. So you're always going to have the schools every year at the top of the list, like the Ohio States, like the Alabamas, like the LSUs, because they have sponsors, they have donors that can donate millions of dollars of NIL money. And so that, to me, is the only thing that I really find a disadvantage for a lot of kids in the schools that they pick. Because if you're in the SEC, you're going to have these huge TV deals, and also kids are going to be making millions of dollars. If you're here going to UNLV or the Mountain West, you have guys that are making $100,000, and that does make a difference when it comes to recruiting. And that makes a lot, where a kid that you would have probably been able to get if you guys are on an even playing field, now, because there's money involved, I can offer this kid $1 million, where another school can only offer him $100,000. And a kid these kids have agents now, and so the agents get a piece of that, like a NFL agent. So I think the kids I'm glad they're getting paid, because they deserve it. Of course, what a lot of people don't know about NIL is not every kid on the team is making millions of dollars. You got a handful of kids, if that, but the money is now being spread out a little bit to where schools are having to divvy up and share with other sports. And so that makes it a little bit more of a plan, but it'll never be on an even playing field, because when you got a $400 million TV budget and another school has no TV money, it's hard to compete. So you're always going to get better players because of the money, and they deserve the money. But the schools also, to me, I think they should step in and go, look, okay, this is the amount allocated for each sport, and then you guys can divvy it up how you want, instead of kids just having a free for all.
I couldn't agree more on that one, because I want to extend, you mentioned, big time sports schools and kind of like lower level, because there's such thing as a big D1 and a small D1, but I even, expanded even more. HBCUs, we're seeing a lot of, known figures. I'll speak, firsthand here in my home state of Virginia. We have a large number of historically Black college and university. The ones that I'm closer to is Hampton University and Norfolk State. Norfolk State happened to have, one of the greatest athletic quarterbacks of all times, coaching right now. He didn't have a good inaugural season. I shout out to Mike Vick over at Norfolk State, but the name recognition did help with recruitment. But I mean, the money wise is nowhere near close to, like you mentioned, a Bama or a UVA or a Tech or any of those big time sports schools. I do think it is unfair when you do see that these universities have these large budget, and it does come down to donors, right? But it's also those donors might not even be a graduate or an alum from the university. They just happen to love the Tar Heels, or they just happen to love the Seminoles, or they just happen to be a fan of the squad, and they're like, I want to give some, give this amount of money to. So it is going to be that unfair advantage. But I do agree with you as far as having some form of like I don't know, like the football program has this pot divvied up with every single player, and boom, they each get this amount of money. Now, when it comes to if they want to make a little extra, as you mentioned, they might have their own reps that's helping them to get some extended. Okay, that they can do that. But I do think it's unfair when you have maybe like a few handful of players making money and you still have some players on the squad. What if they're walk-on players or not scholarship? They're like, hey, look, I'm still struggling, so I'm a part of the team. It takes a team in order to, to win games. It's no I in team, right? So it's so much. I've always had so much issue with I'm a fan of the NIL. I have an issue with some coaches that might be against NILs, because I'm not gonna say any names, but there's some famous retired coaches that won a lot of national titles, that made millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, and they have an issue. They have a huge issue. It's the reason why they retired, because of NILs. They're like, I can't compete with, and I'm like, so you're gonna retire because all the players are not going to you no more. They going to maybe Coach Prime over in Colorado, or they going somewhere else, and it really frustrates me, because I'm like, okay, where was your true mindset? And I guess it goes back to what you said earlier. The coaches are not, the coaches want what's best for their players, but at the end of the day, they're there to coach. And so at the end of the day, on a collegiate level, it's a business. They're gonna do what's best for the program. Some of them might say, I'm gonna do what's best for myself as well. And then if players make it, through all 4 years of making the league, God bless them. If they don't, okay, whatever. But I think I'm not a fan of how there's players that do bounce from university to university to, because one program might give them more money, not scholarship, but NIL. I think that kind of gets it makes it too much of a. It's another NFL. It's another league if you think about it. So that's the only thing I have.
Yeah, no, I mean, just on that topic, and I just something real short as far as that goes. And I again think that for me, if I was to be asked that question, how can we make the NIL work where players won't be leaving after a year? The NIL, and like I said, I'm no genius about how they should structure it, how it should work. But I've been saying this since NIL came on the scene. And you will get players that jump the transfer portal. They'll go to school. Okay, who has the most money they want to give me? And you didn't play at this school, but you're going to go over to this school. You took this school's money. Each school, and this is, I'm sure somebody in those meetings of NIL meetings or committee, the committee that they might have or going to try to establish. If you come to my school, you have a 2-year contract. If you decide you want to leave after 1 year, you forfeit that second year of money. If we gave it to you, and I'm sure none of these schools are giving these kids money. They might be giving it a front year, 1 year, but they're not getting the whole 3 or 4 years up front. So in case they leave, they did stay their whole full year, but for a kid that did come to my school, I would have them on a contract say, okay, you're on a 2-year contract. So it's no one and done, because that way, after 2 years, if you decide you want to leave, we put you on a 2-year contract and say it was $250,000. You're going to get that $250,000, but you're not going to take that $250,000 and run after the first year, which a lot of players do. They jump in the transfer portal. They got $100,000 from their school. The school didn't put no stipulations on it. And so now you can go to another school and get another $100,000 and then go to another school. So by the time you get to the end of your 4 or 5 years, you got $500,000 but you've been to 5 schools.
Yeah. I ain't mad at it. I ain't gonna lie, because the way these gas prices looking, at least over here in Virginia, I know West Coast is extremely high. I already know. I have some family out there in California, and I'm like, I pray for them every day. But I'm over here complaining about gas being over $5, and I saw West Coast, I said, "Oh my goodness!" I had to take a double take. So I understand about getting that money.
Yeah, but don't worry, gas prices going down. They're going down. Groceries are going down. Don't worry about nothing. We're gonna get this war over, and it's going down. And I quoting somebody that keeps saying that every day. Gas prices are going down. Matter of fact, gas and grocery prices are down, but they haven't been to the pump.
Oh man, see y'all. I try so hard, man. He took it out of me. I'm blaming Mark on that one, y'all. I'm blaming Mark. Yeah. But Mark, so look, it's funny because I'm looking at the time, and this is what, again, having fun doing what we're doing here on air. You've been in the industry, you've been in radio for over 14 years. What was, I would say, your first big break in radio? And a second question I want to ask is, what changed the most in broadcasting since you first got behind the mic?
Two great questions. Let me answer kind of the second question first. Mm-hmm. I have had the opportunity to interview, and I've had the opportunity to be on a lot of panels with some really famous people. I was in the business, and I've been in the business. You cut me about 2 years, so in April it was 17 years. So
okay,
cut me short a little bit. But I never had that, like, because as a former athlete, I was so used to being around. Even when I got done playing, I was always around players that were in the NFL and the NBA. Mm-hmm. I've been around a lot of those guys, whether they be friends or just people I knew, just playing with them or playing against them. So that never really starstruck me as far as that goes. I mean, I see people now and they know me, I know them, we speak, and so I've never been starstruck. But one interview that I did that it wasn't not necessarily a wow moment, but I was just like, man, okay. Now, and I've interviewed hundreds of people, Arrington. I've interviewed, I mean, you name the celebrity that's done anything in Vegas, I've either interviewed them before but the one interview that I really was like, it was like, wow. Like, I grew up listening to his music. I grew up watching his movies. I grew up with him because he was down next door to in Compton, California, and I lived, Bellflower, Long Beach, Los Angeles, lived in different places. Was Ice Cube.
I was just, when you said Compton, I started thinking of Friday. I'm like, wow.
Ice Cube was probably the one interview that I never thought I would get, and I've had it twice. Wow. And that was probably the moment where I was like, the business has accepted me. It wasn't that I was a wow moment. I said, as a young black man, I said, this business has accepted me when you don't see so many of us in the position that I'm in. And that has never crossed my mind as far as that goes, but that interview did take me back and go, God, I'm one of few that is in this business, in this position to be able to, not only help and interview all these different celebrities, but also be able to help the younger people and the younger generation of people coming up, because a lot of our business is really based on who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
And to be one of few in this business and in this position, and to have that interview, that was the moment I said, they accept me.
And let's be honest, to our listeners, Ice Cube does not do a lot of interviews. I just want to in his whole career, as an entertainer, as an actor, as an artist, he does a very small. So for you when you mention that, I'm like, that is major. That's literally like trying to get an interview. Well, I mean, he's gone on, but I mean, I always think of like the great Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson never was not a fan of interviews. He didn't want to.
Yeah.
There's a small handful of people that's like, I don't want to talk. Cube is definitely one of them where it's like, no, I'm good. So that was dope.
Yeah. You've had Cube do interviews with, if he's promoting something. So he might have, but to have him sit down, and take the time out of his schedule and do just a one-on-one interview. It's probably a little more now. I don't think he's doing as many as he is, but with the podcasting and with different people creating the podcast platforms. But just before that, you never really seen too many interviews with Ice Cube. And if you did see an interview, it was a brief, maybe a question or two on a red carpet or before a movie premiere. But this is a interview. It's not a whole lot of people that can say they was able to do that.
That is awesome. That's like I'm jealous right there. So they see y'all now. I see I got work to do because I've had a opportunity to interview some great folks, but that will be one I got to put on my bucket list to say, okay, I got to reach out. So now my second question was, through your career though, what changed the most in broadcasting since again that first time you came behind the mic? Because broadcasting radio has changed so much from you got satellite, you still have AM circuits, right? We have streaming now. What has changed in your view that what you've seen working as a personality as well as a GM?
The biggest thing that I've seen is the digital side coming to the radio side.
Okay.
I never thought the day would come where I would have to equip my studio with cameras so people can go live. Because you turn on the microphone and people can hear you over the airwaves. That was that was the beauty of radio, right? You didn't have to have a face for radio. So I always tell people, because I get that question a lot, that it's the digital side where everybody has these different platforms like your platform, where now you can create a platform that not only can reach millions, if not hundreds of thousands of people at one time, depending on how big your platform is. Whereas radio, before we got apps, before we had websites where you can listen to the show, it was mostly for the region, right? Depending on what size radio station you were at, it was a local kind of, people got in the car, locals listened to the news, locals listened to music, and that's all people were able to hear. But with the age of social media and StreamYard and the YouTube channels and everything like that, that broadens your audience. I think it's actually great. It's kind of like the NIL. I think it's kind of great for people now to where they can have a podcast to express their views on things, and it opens up a bigger platform for people. But that's the only thing in radio that has really changed. We had to adapt to the new way because, when you talk AM, FM, and you talk to any of the younger generation, I call them the social media generation. And when you talk to them, they go, AM? What?
Look,
AM
my
radio?
friends used to look at me like I was
get this
crazy.
weird look and face like AM is like a ghost. And, if you say FM, they don't think of talk, they think of music. Oh yeah, I listen to FM, and it's a music station or music channel that they listen to. So, and then but with the streaming now and platforms, I see it in a lot more and more studios now where people are doing their show, but they're also videoing it for a different platform. And I think that's been the biggest difference, is being able to adjust and not compete. I don't compete with podcasts. I don't compete with streaming. The people that have video, I don't compete with them people. And the simple reason is radio and traditional radio will always be here to stay. Like anything, there's going to be some competition, sponsors. But at the end of the day, when I talk to sponsors, they would rather sponsor a radio station because they know they're going to hear their ads. They're going to hear their, you have to have a platform to go and get some sponsors now, because if you're only reaching 23 people and I'm reaching 2,000 people a week,
and you answered my next question, because I was going to ask, in a world where you got TikTok, podcasts, streaming, what keeps radio alive? Like, what still keeps traditional radio alive? So you kind of answered my question, at least on the business side.
Yeah.
But I'll still ask the question: What do you think still keeps traditional radio alive, even during this whole streaming and digital climate that we're in?
Well, I think when you get in your car, a lot of times people are, now if you have Spotify, you have iHeart, you want to listen to some music on your digital platform, the streaming. But when people get in their car, most of the time, when you turn on your car, the radio comes on, right? The radio comes on. And if you hear something you might want to listen to, or you hear a song came on, you're going to keep it on the radio, because it does take you a few minutes. And I learned this it does take you a few minutes to get to your Play Store, to get to your app, okay, let me listen to this song, or even maybe this podcast. But if you're doing an hour drive, that podcast, and guess what? You got to go find another podcast, or you got to go scrolling through while you're driving. So I think there's a small way that people love traditional radio, and it'll never go away, because most of the social media and streaming platforms, they have radio. So if you're on iHeart has radio. If you're on some of the bigger platforms, they have radio.
Yep.
They have
Very
streaming,
true.
but they still have radio. And so I think radio, as long as the radio business side of it continues to still be able to attract sponsors, which right now, just being a traditional radio station, we got over 500 sponsors. And if we had a podcast, I probably wouldn't have 500 sponsors. So,
Very true.
That does make a difference in what we do as far as talk and sports radio. But, for the most part, if you don't have 40, 50, 60,000 followers on any given platform, how many people are you really reaching?
It's the truth. I mean, I have a lot of friends that have that are content creators, and I mean, we from time to time we might grab some drinks and just talk on like, hey, look, how's the shift been? Because it is a business, and being a small business owner myself, this platform is just is another business. I mean, it takes time where I would like travel from place to place, whether if I'm gathering up an interview or getting in contact or going to an event and vice versa. I mean, it's so many different avenues, and it's not easy at all. First of all, when it comes to podcasts, because I feel like everybody in America is like saying, "I'm gonna start a podcast." I'm like, well, and I encourage them to do it, because I'm like, look, it's fun to me. I have fun doing it. I love doing what I'm doing. But I'm always telling them, I'm like, hey, look, it's not easy. And it's funny because you mentioned about how like the different generations will look at AM and like AM or FM and FM. What are you talking about? I was that weird kid that I love talk radio. I was listening to, Larry King and, Joe Madison. And I was listening to AM when I was like probably still in college, just because I've always enjoyed the dialogue and conversation. And I'll listen to stuff that I agree with. I listen to stuff that I disagree with. I mean, we got sports, politics, everything. And I was just always like, man, I just enjoyed the fact that, they're just, they're having a conversation, sharing their thoughts on this. So I was always like that one oddball when my friends be like, hey, you listen to the new album? So I'm like, no, I didn't. I mean, I heard the song, but I'm like, I don't listen to music as much as I do different programs.
Yeah.
Another question I want to ask you, Mark, what separates I want to move it. Las Vegas market alone is a very competitive market. Now, KSHP has been a staple in the area for a number of years. If you don't mind sharing just some of the accomplishments, some of the great things about KSHP, because I know I have listeners that are probably tuning into this conversation we're having from different platforms, and they're like, wait, KSHP, and they're probably some listeners from the Las Vegas area listening on podcasts. Wait a minute, this is in my backyard. So if you don't mind just sharing some great history about KSHP.
Yeah. All right. So KSHP, I mean, it's a funny story, and I won't the whole story, but I'll just get to kind of the meat of the story. And KSHP, the Radio Shop and Show, is the original name. It started off back in 84, 83, something like that. And how it blossomed is it was a garage sale radio. So what we used to do back then, and kind of the history of how it got to where it is how most people, you put up the signs, you see the little fluorescent and colorful signs pointing with an arrow saying garage sale. We all see those. They still put them up today. It's just the norm when you start seeing garage sales. So that was how directed garage sales. So what we would do is, instead of it being a weekend thing, what we would do is, after the garage sales were over, we would go to homes and business and people that had these garage sales, and if they still had items, we would take those items and we would put them on the radio and auction them off. They would give us a percentage of what their item sold for. So we basically started a garage sale on the radio. So that's kind of how it took it to a fold, where that's where the blueprint started. And then, kind of fast forward now, our list of businesses that we work with, what the businesses do with us, and I'll give you an example. Like, we work with Live Nation. And so we work with, some of the major players in Las Vegas, meaning Caesar's Palace, Planet Hollywood, Venetian, Bellagio. So what we do is we work with these businesses, and they provide us vouchers, show tickets, gift cards in exchange for the radio advertising. So then we go on the radio. Say, for instance, I know you guys, you have your business and your products, but we would go on the radio and talk about Ice Cube is coming to the M Resort. He's going to be here. He's going to be performing. If you want tickets to Ice Cube, call this number. And most people either go on our website, kshp.com, and they'll be able to find tickets for a discounted price. Instead of paying full price for all these things that they're going to pay for when they come to Vegas, they come through us and they get it at 50% off. So, for example, if nowadays everything is more expensive, right? Especially in Vegas, a bottle of water is $12. The same, you can go buy 3 cases of water.
What kind of water we drinking, man? $12.
And that's a $1 million question, because they don't even taste good. So it could be water anywhere. They might be filling up the bottles in faucet water. I don't know, Lake Mead water. But that's what the jury's out on that. I don't know. But when you come to Vegas, and for your listeners, if they're traveling to Vegas at any time, we got shows that people are going to go see. But if you can save $100, $150 on a pair of show tickets, why wouldn't you look up at our website before you decide to make your Vegas plans? Because 80% of the strip we work with restaurants. We work with entertainment things. So if you want to go to Lake Mead Cruise, you can go to Lake Mead Cruise, but you're not going to pay the Lake Mead Cruise price off their website. You're going to pay the Lake Mead Cruise price that KSHP has bartered. We bartered with these businesses so we can provide that service to our listeners. And it's a beautiful thing, because most people, when they come to Vegas, you are gonna, now if you already got a budget and you're gonna spend $1,000, we can save you 500 of that 1,000. So by just logging on our website at kshp.com, it'll say shop now. All those same places, same things you want to do. Might be a different name, but it's the same activity. You can save. If you had $1,000 budget, now you come to Vegas, you got $500 extra in your pocket.
I'll tell you, man, one thing I enjoy, I love a good deal, because, and it's funny, because Las Vegas is one of my favorite cities to visit. And I'll be honest, I'm not a gambler. I don't. That's how entertaining you will always find something to do in Las Vegas. Folks already think of Las Vegas due to the casinos, and I'm like, look, I might go to the slot. See, I'm just cheap like that, Mark. I don't like to spend $5, so I'm still trying to hold on my money. But I always enjoy the time when I do go. Now I've only stayed at Caesars when I was in Vegas, but we have one of my dad's good friends lives up there in Vegas, and we visit from time to time. And yeah, I've always loved the city. I'm a fan of city that never sleeps. It's always something to do. It's always a great show. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know, I think he's retiring pretty soon. The last time I was there, I did see a show. David Copperfield. Now I heard he was retiring soon, which, I mean, been a long, he's been doing it for a long time. But it's so many great things, shows, sports. I mean, y'all are killing it when it comes to sports. I remember one time I was visiting Las Vegas, and it was the draft for the expansion hockey team that y'all have, which turned out to be like an unstoppable team. Okay, and I'm looking at my time. I wish I had another hour, but we're gonna have to do a part 2 to talk more about sports, because I know we were talking a little bit before the show. But I also want to ask you as a final question, Mark. Again, you're a father, radio host, general manager, community connector. Man, when the hell do you sleep? when do you sleep, Mark?
I go to bed early and I get up. I go to bed early and I get up early. So that I go to bed about 9 and 10 o'clock on West Coast time. Okay. I'm up at 5:30. And a fun fact about me is I have been walking every day, 7 days a week for the last 4 years at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow. So it's that routine, man.
All my thoughts and my game plan together. So every morning, and I got video proof. So if anybody's questioning it or want to get the receipts, I got video proof, Arrington, every single day for the last 4 years straight. Even on vacation, even when I'm not feeling well, even when I'm had a long night or a long day. I have not missed a walk in 4 years, 4.5 years now. But what I've done is also, as motivation for my kids, I send them a video every morning for the last 4 years. So they got tons of videos. And this is 7 days a week, no matter if I'm on vacation, no matter if even back in 2020, when I first started this journey, I got COVID and I got up and walked for 2 weeks during COVID. So that's how dedicated I was. But it's been 4 years. I'm proud of that. And I've lost some weight in the process. I feel good. My body is in shape. And coming into my 50th birthday this Saturday. And I mean, even my doctor couldn't believe it when I go to my routine checkups. He was like, there's no way. I said, every day, doc, 7 days a week, 5:30 every morning. Either whether I'm on vacation or whether I'm here in town, I get up and walk. And been some days where I didn't want to get out of bed, but I got out of bed.
And that's a good way to end this conversation, man. Encouraging our listeners, hey, get up and move, man. Get up and move. We got to take care of your. I always say,
100%. Take
care of your temple externally, but internally as well. We got to keep it. We got to get up and move. We can't just sit down and mope. And keep that body moving, man. And I think that's a great.
45.
Absolutely.
I walk 2.5 to 3 miles a day.
Wow. And look, and that's dedication, y'all. Because again, he in Las Vegas. And remember, I told y'all. See, I'm an East Coast kid. Y'all West Coast heat is a little different. Y'all is a little different.
Arrington, every single day, even when I'm on vacation.
Oh man, dedication.
You know how vacation can be the excuse of all excuses.
Yes,
when
sir.
When y'all on vacation, y'all on the beach, or y'all on a night out. I didn't get my workout in.
I'm sleeping in.
I didn't get my workout in today. I'll get it tomorrow. But I've never said that about a walk, even on my vacation. And I got 4 years of receipts to prove it.
That's what I'm talking about, my friend. Mark, if you don't mind, I would love to chop it up with you just for a couple seconds after this show. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time out your schedule.
We can do a part 2 if you like, because I know some questions we didn't get to about some of the sports thing. But you tell me when. If Tuesdays work for you, I'll make myself available. But we can do a part 2. That way we can kind of get through all the questions.
We'll do, my friend. Look, don't go anywhere. I want to chop it up with you just for a couple seconds. But again, I want to thank Mark Hayes, General Manager of KSHP Radio. My friends, I hope y'all enjoyed yet another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. That's what we bring to you. And look, and we really didn't talk about politics. Mark almost had me. He almost had me there because I had some more to do. But look, I will talk to y'all next time, my friends, for another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Stay safe out there. Stay informed. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.